All right, so we have more fireworks today in the Senate Judiciary Committee on Oversight. They had a hearing, and that committee is chaired by Dick Durbin. Now, Dick Durbin is a left-wing radical senator out of Illinois. So he is the head honcho, one of the head honchos in the state of Illinois, where we got all of the madness going on and all of the chaos, where we got people who recently boxed in an ICE agent, and one of the people was shot. It was a lady and a guy, and it was people in 4 or 5 different cars, and one person was shot. Do you know that woman was picked up and released by a left-wing radical judge? And I believe it was a cashless bail situation, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, I apologize. But based on the information I have so far, it was a cashless bail. She was released within like 48 hours and came out, and there's actually pictures of her smiling with her parents walking away after assault ICE agents.
Our cameras were rolling as the woman shot by federal agents was released from federal custody. Charlie just mentioned 30-year-old Marima Martinez, who was accused of ramming her car into agents. Here you see her leaving the federal detention center downtown this evening. A short time later, 21-year-old Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz was also released. According to the criminal complaint, Martinez and Ruiz forcibly assaulted, resisted, opposed, impeded, intimidated, and interfered with an officer.
Now, the reason why I bring that up because Pam Bondi had to testify before the Senate Judiciary, and this is the first time she's had to testify in front of them since her confirmation hearing. And during her confirmation hearing, boy, the sparks were flying. Now, the purpose of this hearing is they're trying to trap President Trump, Pam Bondi up. And in this video, you're going to hear her take it to him. You're also going to hear Dick Durbin is going to release some information that in hindsight, he's going to wish that he never did. He's even going to try to interject Epstein. Now, when you see what happens when he interjects Epstein, the whole thing just blows up in his face, just like when he tries to take her to task over the National Guard being deployed in Illinois. So I'm not going to speak too much in this video. I'm going to let the video speak, and then I'm going to provide you with more factual data to help reinforce and back up what it is you're looking at. The most important thing to take away from this is looking at how the Trump administration is pushing back against these left-wing radicals, because typically when you get brought up there in those hearings, those Democrat senators just try to embarrass you and talk over you. But Pam Bondi was not having it today. So let's get off into this first clip as her and Senator Durbin exchange blows. And she is going to take, but she's going to give it better than she took it. Check this clip out.
In my state, the word is, and I think it's been confirmed by the White House, they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
Been on this committee for more than 20 years. That's the kind of testimony you expect from this administration. A simple question as to whether or not they had a legal rationale for deploying National Guard troops becomes grounds for personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this place.
So now he wants to say my state. You're sending people to my state, but he didn't say anything when the jackers are in his state doing crash and grab robberies. You don't hear him stepping out, grandstanding, and getting on that podium claiming it as my state. As you got the governor posing with people that are leading his mentor group for young people who are wanted in 4 different states, have warrants in 4 states, and was a suspect in the murder of a man who passed away, who was killed during one of their crash and grabs. That's his state that he wants to stand on and beat his chest about. But he doesn't poke his head up at all when all of these other things are going on. See, these Democrats get on my nerves because he's trying to say what legal grounds does President Trump have for deploying National Guard, as if it's the first time it happened. They don't want to talk about when Kennedy did it in Alabama to George Wallace, when they were integrating the schools and the people there and the police and all the locals weren't having it, sent in the National Guard. It's happened multiple times. But the reason why they don't like it is because it makes them look bad. They couldn't control it. And you got to ask yourself, is their intention to destroy the state? Because why are they pushing back and act like, oh, we got this, when you got over 50 people's lives being taken in multiple weekends, not years ago, within the last couple of months. But let me let Pam Bondi keep cooking. Check this clip out here, where he's going to try to highlight talking about crime, and check out the data she's going to give him about his state. Remember, it's my state. You're sending people to my state. But yet, watch how he tries to wiggle and weasel his way around this. Check this out.
Question. Your city has a murder rate 5 times higher than New York's. 571 homicides last year. If you were serious about protecting your people, you would be asking this administration for help. You're saying that we're coming into your state and your city. We're there to help make America safe and Illinois safe, whether or not you want to.
See that whole my state comment came back and got him.
Question.
That whole, yeah, what are you doing to my state? Okay, is your state? Your state had 571 homicides. How about that? And that's just homicides. And I actually believe it's probably higher than that, but that's just homicides. What about the people who did make it, who could have lost their life? What that number, if the homicide is 571, the other number is probably quadruple that. What about the people who was carjacked? What about the people who were just strong arm robbery happen to them? What about that? But see, they don't want to talk about that, because anything that actually is going to help the people and help the community, the Democrats are not for that. It's chaos. And it blows my mind how anybody can step up and actually support this crap while they're pushing back against their people being safe. Dick Durbin wouldn't walk through Chicago without police, without having security. And Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, has 200 police officers on his personal detail for he and his wife. And it's still up for question whether his wife has her own personal detail.
And your wife, Stacy, be willing to cut your security detail from 150 sworn police officers and put those police officers back on the street where they can protect real Chicagoans?
So we're very proud of the work that we're doing collectively to ensure that our police officers have the resources that they need. As I've said repeatedly, it's policing and affordable housing, it's policing and youth employment, it's policing and mental and behavioral health care services. It's going to take all of us, the business community, the philanthropic community. We're working collectively with Cook County government, the state of Illinois, the state's attorney as well. The volume of cases that we are pushing towards the state's attorney so that we can continue to close out these cases as we really drill down with our detectives division as they solve crime, as they get the evidence over to the state's attorney, gives her the ability to make the prosecution so that we can continue to deter crime in the city of Chicago. That's the holistic approach that we're taking. Thank you.
But that's how despicable these people are. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a cash app or for a super chat ever. But you hitting that like button, it does help spread the video out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And whether you're already subscribed or subscribing now, make sure that you hit the notification bell and that you select all. YouTube has issues with notifications, but when you select all, YouTube will make sure you get notified when I upload new videos. Now check out this next clip where he's going to bring up Epstein. And boy, Pam Bondi and Marsha Blackburn, they're going to take it to him. Now, Marsha Blackburn is the senator. Check her out.
In February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now for review, end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files. And I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo. You also didn't let me respond to the HIDTA question. The budget transfers $196 million for high-intensity drug trafficking areas to the Office of Justice Programs, OJP. The Justice Department will continue to administer those grants under OJP in 2026.
Going back to the Epstein files, according to another whistleblower who made a protected disclosure to my office, you pushed the FBI to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July, when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memo stating, quote, there's no incriminating client list. Why was the July 7th memo unsigned?
The July 7th memo came from the FBI and the Department of Justice. Director Patel answered those questions very clear. And, you know, Senator Durbin, I find it very interesting that you refused repeated Republican requests to release the Epstein flight logs in 2023 and 2024. You fought that. Did you take money from Reid Hoffman, campaign donations?
Never
Who was?
Now, you heard her just say, and bring it right back to him, that he stopped Republican requests for the flight laws, while everybody runs around acting like, oh, Republicans are just blocking this, trying to hide it. No, they're not. Republicans want it out. But the issue is that Democrats want to control what comes out. They want to take little pieces and then put out what they want and redact and protect everything else. You think they wanted out there that Bill Clinton allegedly was on the plane when young people were getting assaulted? No. You know, the people that were the donors, mega donors that were paying Epstein, that was also on those flight logs. They don't want that out. So they make the public, they say, oh, Republicans are blocking it. They are blocking it. They're blocking the way that the Democrats want to roll it out. They're not blocking the release of the information. They want it all released if you're going to release anything. The Democrats want to control and spoon feed what comes out. But the person that she just mentioned is Reid Hoffman. This right here is Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman is the owner of LinkedIn, the social media app. I call it the Facebook for professionals. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and one of the partners of Real Politics is Chapter. When my mother turned 65 and was going into retirement, she was frustrated. She was overwhelmed. The phone calls and the spam emails she was getting was from people that were acting like they wanted to help her, but ultimately they were just trying to sell her stuff. And then Chapter was discovered. And what Chapter does, Chapter agents give an unbiased perspective on the best Medicare plans available for seniors. Wouldn't it suck to find out that a Medicare plan you've been paying on no longer covers your prescriptions and your doctor is no longer in network? In less than 20 minutes, one of the agents at Chapter will help you make sure that you have the best plan options available. And guess what? If what you have is the best, great. But if there's a better option out there for you, Chapter is going to help you discover it. It's less than a 20-minute phone call, and it's saving seniors as much as $1,100 a year, $1,100. And I'm sure you can find better things to do with that $1,100 than to give it away unnecessarily. So you can reach out to Chapter. You can use the website there on the screen, or you can call the number. Either which way, just make sure you tell them that Brian Maxwell sent you, and they'll take great care of you. But as you see right here, billionaire Dem mega donor bankrolling Trump's accuser's lawsuit. Now, he bankrolled E. Jean Carroll. Now, what would Reid Hoffman, the owner of LinkedIn, why would he care about E. Jean Carroll? You think there could be a little shade going on there that this mega donor stepped in to fund this woman's accusations after 30 years where Trump is saying, I have no idea who this woman is. If you don't know who E. Jean Carroll is, she is a whack job. But nonetheless, this is who Reid Hoffman is. So when you see this face of this person, this is the individual that's given the Democrats millions of dollars. Now, she just brought it up, Reid Hoffman. Now, I want you to hear what Senator Durbin has to say about Reid Hoffman.
Take money from Reid Hoffman, campaign donations, who was a huge Epstein friend. Why did you fight for years?
Did you hear what he said? And I'll take it back. Listen to what he said.
Who was a huge Epstein friend.
He said, never heard of him. Now, if he would have said, I never met him, blah, 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 that'd be one thing. But to say you never heard of Reid Hoffman, the owner of LinkedIn and Democrat mega donor, like one of the biggest donors to the DNC, that right there is evidence of just how unethical and how willing they are to lie. And the fact that this man is chairman of this committee of oversight is just bizarre. It's absurd. But it is what it is. Let her keep cooking.
Why did you fight for years? Why did you fight to not disclose the flight logs, Senator Durbin?
I can tell you I did not refuse. One of the senators here wished to produce those logs, and I asked her to put it in writing, and she never did.
Yeah, I think Senator Blackburn would quarrel with you on that.
I will quarrel with you as to Reid, somebody that you mentioned I never heard of.
Reid Hoffman.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
You saw how he felt the need to again readdress the Reid Hoffman that he never heard of him.
To flag records for President Trump?
To flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your conduct in this. You won't do it today, but eventually you will. I yield.
Now, you heard him say eventually she's going to have to account or pay for her conduct in this. Not today, but eventually. That's no different than Hakeem Jeffries, who made the thread about how the statute of limitations is 5 years and how Trump will be long gone and how they're going to come after anybody who helped or assisted President Trump.
One thing to understand, as people who are flirting with the Trump administration or doing the bidding of the Trump administration or engaging in the pay-to-play schemes of the Trump administration, the statute of limitations is 5 years. Donald Trump and this toxic administration will be long gone, but there will still be accountability to be had. And that process, of course, begins now, but it will not be complete until perhaps there is an independent Department of Justice, certainly an independent House of Representatives in Democratic hands. The Department of Justice is one of the great institutions in law enforcement in the history of this country, and Donald Trump and these extremists have been destroying its integrity.
The same party screaming about lawfare was the party who committed lawfare during Joe Biden's term. And now that Trump is running the show, they are pissed, and they're already making promises on how they're going to come after people down the road. So hopefully when President Trump leaves office, he pardons everybody, even those that are still working, pardons them all. Do what Joe Biden did. He pardoned his family. He pardoned 1,500 other people that he didn't even know who they were. We found out now it was the auto pen, but that's a whole nother situation. Check out Marsha Blackburn.
I got
Mr. Chairman,
something here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, since Senator Durbin referred to me, I would really appreciate the opportunity to correct the record, because Senator Durbin knows I repeatedly asked for those flight logs. I brought up the subpoena. You even shut down the committee because you didn't want that, and you know I submitted that in writing, and you continue to misrepresent that, and I am not going to let that record stand.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Senator Durbin.
I just want to make it clear that the reason the committee business ended was that your side invoked the 2-hour rule. Point number 2 is I asked you if you wanted any documents like flight logs to put it in writing. You never did.
Yes, sir, I did. And your staff knows that I did.
No,
We'll submit once again
Send me a copy
the
of that.
information to you. We've done that several times, but we'll be happy to once again send it to you. I think your staff doesn't show that to you.
Now, you just heard Senator Blackburn state, yes, I have submitted it. Now, we got proof for you. Check this out.
And that a large network of high-profile, high-dollar predators took part in this horrific abuse. That's why on the Senate Judiciary Committee, I've repeatedly requested a subpoena for the complete unredacted Epstein flight logs from the FBI. I've also pushed for the release of Ghislaine Maxwell's unredacted little black book of contacts and addresses. The American people have the right to know who flew on his planes, who witnessed the crimes, and who potentially participated in his global sex trafficking ring.
So as you hear and as you see, this is from February when Senator Blackburn on the Senate floor asked for the flight logs again. Okay, this is from February. So when we hear Senator Durbin saying, oh, she didn't submit it in writing. Yes, she did. Not only once, not only twice, but I think 3 or 4 times. Okay. And you heard him stand up there and say, I don't know who Reed Hoffman is. It was so much that he didn't know who he is. He had to address it again to make sure that it's on record that he didn't know who he was. That's so disingenuous. Again, if he would have said, hey, we've never met, that'd be one thing. But to say that you've never heard of the Democrat Party mega whale of a donor, when we all know politicians are nothing more than high-level, high-skilled telemarketers and salespeople. That's it. Most of their time, I would say probably 95% of a Congress member or a senator, and I don't care what side of the aisle they're on, their time is begging for money. That's what they do. They bootleg, butt kiss, grandstand for donations. And when they got somebody that's kicking in, they know who that person is. They zero in. They make sure that person getting an email, direct mail, invitations, decal stickers, or $5,000 a plate, dinner invitations, everything. On either side, when you got mega donors, you cater to that person. So the fact that he acted like he didn't know, the same individual who's been working behind the scenes to try to convict President Trump, didn't know who he is a flat out lie. Just like the fact that he said he never got requests for the Epstein flight logs, flat out lie. Just like he acted like he's so concerned about the safety of his state. While Texas is sending in 400 National Guard, and President Trump is federalizing 300 in Illinois, in his state, as he likes to claim it, which is coming off a 571 homicide number from last year. And the way that things are going this year, seems like that number is going to be even higher than that. Like I stated, they've already had 3 or 4 weekends. I know 2 for sure, where 50 or more people were shot. The one of them, 7 people lost their lives in that weekend, in one of those weekends, not to mention how many times there's been 20 or 30 people who have been shot or brutalized in that city of Chicago. But I just wanted to bring you this to show you what's happening behind the scenes. Don't lose faith in our party. The Republicans are really doing everything they can to get the Epstein information out, to get the illegal immigrants out, to get the crime down, and to level out the budget and the deficit. The Democrats shut the country down for illegal immigrant health care, shut the government down because they want $500 million to prop up left-wing radical publications, and then they want to add $1.5 trillion to the deficit to continue feeding, funding, and housing illegal immigrants, and it's just not going to happen. So I just wanted to bring you this to let you know the Republican Party is fighting and standing strong, even though the mainstream media and some of these hacks online want to try to push propaganda that is not happening. But the reason why they're panicking is not only is it happening, it's working. There was a poll that came out and showed that 62% of Americans blame the Democrats and want the Democrats to end the shutdown. And that was a Harvard poll, one of those polls that the Democrats love to stand behind. Now, justify that, Hakeem, Chucky Boy Schumer. Remember Hakeem the Dream, Jeffries, Timo Obama. And then we got Chuck, government shutdown Schumer. They're calling it the Schumer shutdown. The man who grills raw hamburgers fakely with no fire and got cheese on it, posing for a picture like he just getting it in for the 4th of July. Everything about these people are fake. So if you've hung out and watched it up to this point, I thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.